Gravity Falls is definitely one of the shows that when it comes up, people always talk about how it's the greatest, which it deserves, no doubt. But I've always had a few issues with the show that I've never seen anyone talk about. While over the years, the third-party material fixes a lot of these problems, at the end of the day, that third-party material and your average Joe Schmo isn't going to be sitting there watching the show with the third-party material by their side. So with that in mind, hi, my name is Micah, and here are the 5 things I would change about Gravity Falls in order to make it the perfect show it was always meant to be. But wait, didn't I already make this video? Well, a while ago, I created a 4-part animation series, and I got 3 out of those 4 parts done. However, I got burnt out, and they don't really reflect my skill as an editor, which was my entire reason for making them. Well, now, I've decided to revisit them. I'm now remaking, re-editing, reshooting, everything these videos to make them the perfect experience they were always meant to be. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. This episode in particular is the episode that made me originally want to make this video in the first place. Not What He Seems has always felt like a season finale, rather than a mid-season finale to me. By making Not What He Seems a season 2 finale, it gives time for the show to expand on Ford and Stan's backstory and how people other than Dip, or Mabel, Seuss, and Wendy reacted to Ford, instead of getting to Not What He Seems in a tale of Stan's and suddenly rushing towards the finale like there is no tomorrow, relegating all the things I just talked about into the third-party material. It just gives the show more breathing room, and it just allows us to actually take in the information and process everything. Next up, however, is Season 3. Season 2 should not have been the end. Instead of Season 2B being the finale, it should have moved into Season 3 as Season 3B. So that leaves the question, what should Season 3A be about? Yes, I know I'm neglecting Season 2B here. Just ignore it. Anyways, in order to determine what Season 3A should be about, let's take a look at this amazing show called Red vs. Blue. Normally, I despise machinibles, due to most modern ones being incredibly cringe, stupid, and clickbait. Red vs. Blue is not that in the slightest. It's funny, it knows what it is, doesn't try and pass itself off as canon or part of the Halo universe, instead treating the game as the software to make the show. What I want to focus on was Season 14. Because they were adamant about Season 13 being the last season for a while, they instead made a ton of prequel episodes set up like an anthology series and explained a lot of the elements of the show, such as the origins of Red Team and Blue Team. Season 3A of Gravity Falls could be about the backstory a Tale of Two Stands tries to tell in one episode. Think about this with me for a second. Episode 1 could be about the adventures Ford and Stan had as a kid. Episode 2 could be about the science fair where Stan was kicked out of the house. Episode 3 would then focus on Stan's journey at the camera and getting banned across the world. Episode 4 would then be about Ford's college life and meeting McGucket. Episode 5 would be about the beginning of Ford's exploration of Gravity Falls. Episode 6 would be him meeting Bill and would continue off that and also include some of the stuff from Book of Bill. Episode 7 would be when he brought in McGucket, and Episode 8 would be about McGucket and Ford's falling out, and Ford getting stuck in the Nightmare Realm. Episode 9 would then go back to Stan's life after he decided to become Ford and taking his own test. And Episode 10 would be about Ford in the Nightmare Realm and would dive into Bill Cipher's history, and in the end, we would cut back to where Not What He Seems ends, and we go all the way back to the start of our frame narrative, and it would tie together beautifully, and we could progress the story from there afterwards. We finally saw Pacifica getting along with Dipper and Mabel at the end of the Gulf War, but it wasn't until Northwest Mansion Mystery that we saw her stand up to her parents. But you know what happens after that? She goes back to her previous self as if nothing had changed. We should have gotten more episodes with Pacifica actually hanging out with Mabel, Andy, Grenda, and all the main cast. Kinda like what happens with Amity Blight in the Owl House. For those who don't know, Amity starts out like the Pacifica character, being the popular girl and being pushed around by her parents while also bullying the main cast characters. After a few confrontations with the main character Luz, they start to actually get an understanding of each other, which all culminates in the episode Lost in Language, where they become friends, and later they even begin to date. Now, that's not what I'm saying for Pacifica, because I don't know if that's necessarily right for her arc, although many fans probably would have actually liked that route. But it would have been much more interesting to see her character evolve and interact with the main cast, rather than actually ignoring her character development just for a few gags in the finale, especially considering Pacifica ended up being one of the more important characters because she was a part of the Cypher Wheel. I don't have much to say with this episode. They should literally just take the part from the book where they say why they're going on the road trip, because that's like people's #1 complaint with the episode. It's time to talk about Weirdmageddon. For the most part, the finale was actually pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's still pretty damn good. My first problem is that the weirdness magnetism of Gravity Falls should have just been established way earlier on, or at least hinted at, because it kind of just comes out of nowhere. Next, Mabel's bubble needs a complete overhaul. Fantasy should have won that court case instead of reality winning. Dipper should have been kicked out of Mabeland. That way, Mabel feels bad for Dipper and comes to her own senses, like how Marcy did with Sakura, and escape with Wendy ensues. It would have been better for a character arc, as Mabel has been shown to be selfish throughout the show, and living in her own fantasy land where she can just ask any boy she wants out to do whatever she wants, and forcing everyone around her to bend over backwards for her would literally be the perfect culmination of that, and would all fully be realized in her replacing Dipper with Dippy Fresh, kicking Dipper out of Mabeland, as was originally intended in the script. When she comes to her senses when she misses the real Dipper, she finally will leave Mabeland to help her friends and family when they need it the most. The last thing I would change is actually the ending itself. The way this show makes it seem as if Stan got his memory back instantly. I know what the third-party material says, but can we just admit that's bullshit that they just threw in because people complained? And even with that bullshit, it just doesn't work. It's not particularly fulfilling, and it's kind of just bullshit. So return to status quo, yay! Happy ending, Disney, yeah. By the end of the show, Stan should really only be partially recovered. They could do a time skip ending montage to show how the events of the show affected where everyone was a month or two later. And they could have shown a clip to imply he fully recovered, but he shouldn't have remembered everything by the time Dipper and Mabel leave to return home. In my personal opinion, I think all of this combined could have made Gravity Falls a perfect show. It takes what disappointed me about the show, or the things that were only told in the third-party material, and puts it in the show, giving satisfying conclusions to characters we got to know throughout the show's run. That's not to say what the show did originally is bad by any means. The show wouldn't get the praise it gets if it didn't do something that was good. But I always thought there could have been improvements. But I want to know what you guys think, so please comment if you guys agree, or what you guys would have liked to see the show do. And if you guys like this, I've got more coming. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, make sure to leave a like, or dislike if you didn't. And I will see you guys next time.
Watch this, watch this, watch this, watch this. Look, look, look. Keep watching, keep watching. Give it a second. It's the guy from Fortnite!